Hey everybody, welcome back. It's the Daily Bern. Come on in. This is the war room of the political revolution. What this is a daily inspirational, motivational show for all of us that are out there fighting every day in this political revolution in order to change our government from one that is only working for big money and endless war into one that works for the people. Please like and share and get this out as far as you can. I share it to unfriendly places too. Put it in Trump groups, put it in Blue No Matter Who groups. Get this message out to everybody. And comment. Any interaction in the show helps us do better in the algorithm and get out to more viewers. So I'd really appreciate that. Plus, I like reading your comments. And I'd like this to be an ongoing conversation, a place where we gather and inspire each other and share our stories. So please comment. I like that. But thanks for coming to The Bern. I'm your host, Sean Yankee, and I thought we'd start off today with a quote from Sun Tzu from The Art of War. And the quote is a really short quote. The quote is, "All war is deception." We're in a war. You know, people like to make fun of us for even calling this our revolution. That is exactly what this is. You've just never seen it before. This is a political revolution. This is an attempt to peacefully take back control of our government. And it has the potential to be successful. This is a way that we could actually make real change. And it's happening, right? This is happening right now. So mock it all you want. This is a war. It is. And this fight that we're in, it's crucial that we win this fight. We need to do all that we can. Things are getting very bad. Things are going to get worse. A lot of it's being hidden. You know, the average person has very little idea how bad things actually even are currently, but definitely is unaware of how bad things could be, how bad things could get. They're oblivious to it. And there's really good reason why they're oblivious to it. They're victims of a weaponized propaganda machine. That's where they get their information from. But, we can talk about that more and more later on. But that's just the reality. That is the way that the powerful fight us, is through deception, through dividing and conquering us. They've been doing it that way since the beginning of time. Ever since there were powerful people and societies to lord over, they've used manipulation tactics. Of course, this is just like conspiracy theories. People mock that. They make fun of you for believing in conspiracy theories. And some of you know that I am the conspiracy theory guy around here on politics and stuff. But there's nothing to be ashamed of believing in conspiracies. Conspiracies are real, theories are real. You put them together, it's still a real thing. You've just been conditioned to be ashamed of that term. And the CIA weaponized that term. You can Google all of this, right? This is not the conspiracy theory show, but everything I'm telling you is true. It's a weaponized term. And they do that. They gaslight you. They get you to be ashamed, to think a certain way or to have certain beliefs. And you've got to just ignore that shit. I don't remember exactly where I was going with this. Yeah, I do. Now I do. War is deception. War is deception. Now, you can use that to your advantage. If you understand it and realize that it exists, that that problem is real, okay? That the news media, the corporate owned news media, is lying to the general public on a massive scale. Um, you know, the again, we're going to go down a little bit of a conspiracy road, but this is again completely true. You can Google it. Please do. The CIA infiltrated the media in the 1950s, and their their goal, their expressed goal, you can look this up too, was to make sure that everything the American people believed was false. They're they don't want you to know what's going on because knowledge is power, and the powerful want the public to stay as weak and as controllable as they possibly can. So this system that lies to, divides, and misinforms people, that is by design, and it's been perfected over time, and it's very effective. So in this war, we are going to have to realize our role, okay? And there are millions of us. And if we realize our role and do all that we can to fight back against these lies, then we can win. You know, it's very powerful. It is. I'm not going to lie to you. And they have more weapons than just their media. They have a lot of weapons, and they're going to use all of them. Rest assured. Some we haven't even seen yet. We lived through one rigged election already in this movement. You know, we've seen a lot of what they'll do, and we've seen what they're capable of. Some of us were in shock. I kind of was too. And I'm pretty open to how messed up things are and to what's really going on in the world. And I was shocked. They outright rigged an election in this country right in front of everybody and used the media to help them do it. They were distorting truth in real time. It was crazy to watch, right? But now we've seen it. Now we've seen that they'll do that. We've seen that they're capable of that and capable of other things. You know, limiting polling stations, all kinds of things. They'll do all they can to stop us. The thing is though, and the main takeaway and the thing that Bernie and especially me am trying to get people to understand is we outnumbered them, and when we use our numbers and unite, we win. Always. That's always how change has taken place. It's the only way change takes place. And what we're doing right now is big. You know, it does seem sometimes a little overwhelming, but when you think about it, you're talking about a coordinated effort among millions of people. So the size of it, don't let that get in the way. Don't let that overwhelm you. We can do this. Yeah, it's big, but we can make this happen. All we have to do is all we can. That's it. Now, I include a link in the description of every Daily Bern to BernieSanders.com. Please go there and see if there's anything that you can do. There are over 2 million of us volunteering already to help get Bernie elected president. See if there's anything you can do. I know that I was amazed how many ways there are to volunteer. Bernie and the campaign are masters at getting people engaged. There are tons of ways to volunteer for the Bernie Sanders campaign, from, very involved to things that don't take much time to do at all that you can do in your spare time. So check that out. See if there's anything that you can do. but donate whenever you can. I am poor, as many of us are. There is no such thing as a middle class anymore. We are the working poor. But we bought ourselves a politician. Bernie Sanders does not take big money. Um, most of you know this, but for anybody who doesn't, there are no super PACs. There are no billionaires behind this campaign. This campaign is completely publicly funded. Um, Average donation of $18, and we're doing a really good job. We've raised 27.5 million, I think, maybe more. I know it's at least 27.5 million last I checked, and we're crushing it. The average donation, like I said, is $18, but do any amount you can. If you can only donate a dollar, donate a dollar. Everything helps. Um, I've been asking people to get a bumper sticker while you're there. They only cost a few bucks, and they're selling out. The one I want, I can't even get anymore. I want another one, and it's this round one, and it's inspired by FDR. So it's old style looking, and I want it so bad. And I already ordered it once, but they sold out. I guess they just can't keep up with the demand for these things, which is cool. But um, get you a bumper sticker and put that on your car. You would be amazed. I know I was. How many conversations just having that bumper sticker on your car will open up and create. And that's what you got to do. That's what doing all you can really means, right? I host this show, I volunteer, but I don't live this revolution all day long. You can't, right? And you don't have to. You don't, right? You don't have to live this revolution all day. Well, you kind of do. All you really need to do is change your mindset, change your thinking, make it part of your life. You see what I'm saying? It, do it through your actions. This fight is a weird fight, right? It's not like any fight I've ever been in. And I'm still learning, but I think I'm coming to some understandings. And one of them is that I am just part of millions. I'm one piece in a very big plan, right? A very big group of people. Now, I can't affect what they do, right? I can't affect what even you do. I can, and if I obsess about that, if I worry about you, instead of worrying about me, then I'm not going to get anywhere because I can't, like I said, I can't affect you, right? I have no control over you, but I do have control over me, right? So I started thinking about it like that. And I think that's the way we need to think about it. We are all a piece of something much larger, but we can affect our own lives right now. And, excuse me, I think that's going to do more towards growing our movement than anything else. We need to inspire people. And I think that is going to be the way you do it. I stopped. Um, well, I didn't stop completely. I'm still guilty of it. It's hard. It's hard to stop completely. I'm probably addicted to. I'm definitely addicted to social media, but I'm probably addicted to arguing with people online. But I've tried to cut back, and I've pretty much stopped. And I've also stopped worrying about other people, right? Like, what's an example I could use? I work in customer service, and I used to get not triggered, but I used to instantly judge anyone I saw wearing a MAGA hat. Instantly. I'm trying to stop doing that, right? Um, I'm just gonna start trying to inspire people with my actions to realize that I can't change your mind. You, especially on something like this, right? This is so centered around deeply held beliefs. especially if you buy into the whole political team shit and I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat. If you buy into all that and you feel like you're part of a team, it's even worse. But these people aren't going to change their minds by being argued with, right? They are pretty set in their beliefs and pretty set in this, and it's been something that they've held for a while. It's going to take a little bit. They're going to have to come to it on their own. It's definitely not going to happen in a back and forth conversation in the comment section on Facebook. So don't even worry about that. Just, I'm not saying ignore stupid shit you see or, don't engage ever. It's my hobby. It's one of my favorite things to do is to dick around on Facebook. My imaginary friends that live in my phone are some of my favorite people, honestly. And a lot of them watch this show, but I'm not saying don't do it, and definitely fight lies and propaganda and bullshit when you see it. But I guess what I'm trying to say is lead by example. Be more of an example of what you want to see. Does that make any sense? Usually I write this out. I've been writing this out because that helps me to make sure at least the beginning part of the show makes sense. That I'm not rambling and I've stayed on point. I um, for some of you that don't know, this is a pre-recorded show. It has to be because my computer is a piece of garbage and it's really about to die. Honestly, I am on the verge of trying to figure out creative ways on how to get a new one because I don't want to stop doing this. But anyways, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about my computer because I'm going to forget what I was talking about. But so these can't be live anymore. We pre-record them, and I was writing out the beginning, the monologue, just so there would be something that was consistent. But I was still doing the rest of it live, you know, and so it still had a live feel to it. But today I didn't write it out. Sometimes I struggle because this is a daily show, and I don't want it to be repetitive because I don't want it to lose its entertainment value. I want you to come back and get something new out of it every day. So, um, but the message is the same. It's like I saw a reporter say to Bernie, you say the same things over and over again. And Bernie laughed and he was like, well, when we start getting some of this stuff, when we start getting health care for our people and a living wage and things like that, I'll start talking about something else, you know? And that's the way I feel. We're in this fight and I chose and took it upon myself to be a voice of motivation and inspiration in that fight. So I have to do all I can. You have to do all you can. And when we all do all that we can, we're going to win. You know, you got to own that and you got to believe it. You really do. It can't be said enough how important believing in something is. Your mind, your mind is very, very powerful, much more powerful than anyone ever wants you to even realize. And you can set your mind to something, and with enough belief and determination, you can will it into existence. You have to do the work, of course. You have to put in the effort. But are set, if you set your mind to something and you refuse, refuse to back down, you can do whatever you want. People say that and, you know, you don't believe it, but you think it sounds cheesy, and it is cheesy, but it's also true. You can do anything you set your mind to. If you set your mind to something, you believe in it, and you put in the work and do what needs to be done. Keep moving forward, even when you get knocked down. and you will get knocked down. Life will kick your ass, especially when you want something, especially when you're trying to accomplish something. Life will do all it can. It's almost like it wants to make sure you're worthy, you know? It tests you. Like, do you really want this? This is going to be hard. You really want this? You got to keep saying yeah. You got to keep getting up. That's how winning is done. When you get knocked down, you get back up. Keep going. People ask me all the time, so what if we lose? What if we lose? What if we don't win? What if they rob him again? If they what if they do this? What if they do that? I don't respond much to that because for one, I don't see the point in having a plan B. I don't have a plan B. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have a plan B. Do I know that there is a possibility that we could lose? Yeah, of course I do, right? I've been called naive. I'm not naive. I'm a realist. I'm not an optimist. Trust me, I believe in this fight because this can work. This is realistic. 100%. This is not a pipe dream. I believe in this fight because this is what needs to happen. And I never thought I'd see it. I never thought it would happen. I had no hope that the people would unite like this and do this, right? Now we haven't reached the number that we need to reach yet. We need to reach more, we need to get more people, but we have the momentum to win, and I'm excited. And I'm in this fight 167,000%. I'm in it to win it. So I don't have plan B. For me, plan B gets in the way of plan A. But I am Bernie or bust. I'll have to figure out what plan B is when we get there. But right now, I'm not thinking like that. I'm not going to think like a loser. You got to think like winners, right? I'm in this to win. We have to win, right? This is our time. This is our fight. And we are going to win. Not Bernie, us. We're going to do all that we have to do. Because we understand that no hero is coming to save us. This is our fight. But that's the purpose of this show, right? I just want everybody to understand that. That's why I wanted to do this show. And I also wanted to do this show because I don't see any positive voices out there. So I'm not a professional at all. I'm getting a little better each day, and hopefully you're digging the show. But I wanted to see something like this. It didn't exist. I decided to create it because I felt like it was something I could do. And you just got to do all you can. That's all. Thanks again, everyone, for coming. And if you shared the show, thank you so much. That helps more than you know. And this message needs to spread and get out there. So thank you very much. Real quick, let's get into the comments from yesterday's Burn. All right, so let's see. Royce was here and he was talking about Bernie, and he said he's fought for the people his whole career. He has a, 40-year history, and he's been pretty consistent and has fought for these same issues the whole time. So we have a fantastic candidate. We're in a really good position in that way as well. But he is just our candidate. We need to remember that. This is our fight. Bernie can't do this alone, but he is a fantastic candidate that's been fighting for the people for his whole life, as far as I can see. And Rob was here and said that this is not a game. We hit the streets if they fuck us over again. Sorry for the F bomb, but I have to agree with him. John F. Kennedy said it best: if peaceful revolution is made impossible, violent revolution will become inevitable. And I hope that doesn't happen because, as Royce also added, believe world peace is possible. And I do. I believe that we can do better. We can. And let's see what else. Alyssa says, I love this show. Thank you. Um, Cardi B. Someone mentioned Cardi B. Cardi B's interview with Bernie just came out, and share that. Get that out there. I'm not a big fan of Cardi B's, but from what my son tells me, she is pretty popular, and I think it's super cool. Even though I don't know much about her, that she is using her platform for this message. That she realizes this is important and is using her platform and her fame for this message. That's great. And I also admire the fact that Bernie will do things like that. He understands that you got to get the message to the people. You don't close yourself off. So it's really cool that he did this interview with her. Next, we'll head over and check out the news. I picked out some news stories for you guys, so let's head over to the newsroom. The first piece that I picked out to show you guys today is the Cardi B interview with Bernie Sanders. This is from Vox, where I'm getting this from, and the video is right here. Let's watch it together real quick.
This is Senator Bernie Sanders. I am with Cardi B. We're at the 10 Nail Bar in Detroit, Michigan, talking about some of the most important issues that impact you.
Don't you ever feel like scared that like these people that run drug companies and these schools, it's all a business. And it's like, are you scared that you will get so many powerful people upset? I don't know.
Cardi, that's what I've been doing my whole life.
All right, guys, so this is Cardi and Bernie, and we're out here in Detroit at the 10 Nail Bar, because I love nails.
Look at her nails.
A couple of weeks ago, I asked my followers, what type of questions would you like to ask a Democratic candidate? Let's go, baby. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to advocate the youth in my community, because I feel like there's a serious problem right now in America. We have this bully as a president, and the only way to take him out is somebody winning.
We got to get rid of Donald Trump, obviously, because Donald Trump is an overt racist. He's way out there.
But right now, people are just not scared to show it. And we constantly see on social media police brutality against Black men and against minorities. What are we going to do to change that? Because that is discouraging our people. It's discouraging us to fight. It makes us feel like we're worthless. We constantly see a man getting killed every day, and it seems like nobody cares, nobody's sympathizing, nobody's talking about it.
Obviously, we need to end all forms of racism in this country, from Donald Trump down to the local police department. We have something like 1 out of 4 young Black men in this country end up in the criminal justice system. They may end up in jail, they may end up on parole, they may end up on probation, whatever it is. That is disgusting and beyond belief. So, first thing we do is we make sure that young people in this country, Black and Latino, Native American, whoever they may be, get the kind of education and job training they need so they can go out and get good jobs. We have to invest in jobs and education, not more jails and incarceration. Second of all, in terms of police brutality, if a police officer kills somebody, that killing must be investigated by the United States Department of Justice. Number 3, we at the federal level make sure, do everything that we can to make sure that police departments look like the communities that they serve, not like an oppressive army.
I don't want people thinking that we're trying to attack the police, because let me tell you something. There was this one time that I started to feel like I hate the police. They pigs. But there's a lot of cops that go in their jobs and they want to protect their people.
Right. So we need police departments that look like the communities that they serve. We get rid of a lot of this militarization of the police department, which is a form of intimidating people in the community. Do you get nervous when you do your big performances?
It depends.
What about when you go abroad? Is that okay?
They love Americans over there. It don't matter what.
No Americans.
There is a lot going on when it comes to the immigrants. It's a very tough situation. I met a fan in one of my concerts, and he was telling me how he's a dreamer, and he was approved by DACA and everything, and now he have to get deported to Mexico, to a country that he don't know nothing about. What are we gonna do when it comes to the dreamers in this country?
I'm gonna make a promise to you, all right? Here it is. Trump ended the DACA program with an executive order. In the first week I'm president, we're going to reestablish and expand that DACA program. There are about 1.8 million young people who have only known the United States as their home. They may have never visited Mexico or any place else in their life. This is where they were raised.
And we're not only talking about Mexico.
That's right.
It's immigrants from all around the world that are facing the same problem.
You got it. So what we do is we will reestablish the legal protections that the 1.8 million young people in this country today had under DACA. So they once again will have those protections, and I think we're going to expand that program to their parents as well.
Yeah. One of the popular questions are, how would it be possible to get free health insurance, free education, and how will our student loans will be forgiven? Because a lot of people think that it's impossible, and a lot of people don't want extreme socialism.
We are in Detroit, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
If we go into Canada, what we find is that every man, woman, and child in that country has health care as a human right. So does the United Kingdom. So does Germany. So does Sweden, France, Norway, Denmark. Bottom line is the current system works to make billions of dollars in profit for the insurance companies and the drug companies. That's its function. I want to change that.
People are just afraid to pay more taxes than they're already paying. So how do you think we could work around that?
Right now, the way we pay for health care is pretty complicated. Every month, there's a premium that you have to pay.
Yeah.
And when you go to the doctor, you have to pay a co-payment. And often you have to pay out of your own pocket because your insurance may not cover this or that procedure. And then you pay in taxes for Medicare, for Medicaid, and for the Veterans Administration. So people have to understand that. No more premiums, no more co-payments, no more deductibles. You go to any doctor you want. And you do pay more in taxes depending on your income. The overwhelming majority of the people will end up paying less than they're currently paying in healthcare. Their taxes will go up, but they're not going to be paying premiums, deductibles, co-payments.
Like, what are we going to do about wages?
Good.
In America?
Good.
Like, for example, like me as a New Yorker, not now, but, you know, when I was not famous, I just felt like no matter how many jobs I get, I wasn't able to make ends meet. Like, I wasn't able to pay my rent, get transportation, and eat.
That is an excellent and important question, because right now we have tens of millions of people who are earning what I consider to be starvation wages. Can you imagine somebody today earning $9 an hour?
It don't make no sense.
No, it doesn't. How do you pay your rent? How do you pay for food? How do you pay for transportation?
Right.
You can't. And if you have a child.
Yes. And my thing is that, you know, certain people like to brag that there is more jobs now in America, but it's like, yeah, there's an increase of jobs given, but what are they paying in these jobs? They're practically paying nothing.
You got it. That is exactly the issue. So you can get a job, but maybe you're going to have to work with 2 or 3 jobs.
Exactly.
Legislation that I've introduced, which was passed in the House recently, U.S. House, would raise that minimum wage to $15 an hour. And what we also have to do is make it easier for workers to join unions so they can sit down and engage in collective bargaining and earn a decent living.
You know that you have a mutual respect for FDR.
Did you want to talk about that?
Oh, well, you know, Me and his wife, we have the same birthdays. I have a couple of reasons why I love FDR. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's amazing because he became a president when America was in one of its worst times. And not only are you going through a depression, but you're also going through World War II. So you're trying to fix the economy while you have to fund a war. So it's like for me to know that a president did that. I mean, come on now, he did the New Deal. Like that's the reason we have Social Security.
That's right.
So it just amazed me that he came up with all of those things, plus personal problems. Like he had polio and everything. And it's just like, goddamn, I love him. He's my favorite.
Well, I want to be a favorite after I'm elected, but we'll see. All right.
Bernie, do you think it's going to be possible to eliminate student debt? Because so many people are suffering these things, and I feel like it discouraged the youth to go to school.
Cardi, you are 100% right. You got 45 million people in this country who have student debt. Do you believe that?
Yes.
45 million. You have young people, 25, 30, they were told, you got to go to college to go out and get a good job, right?
Yes.
So they went $50,000, $100,000 in debt. Number one, if you can get into college, if you have the ability, you should be able to get a college education regardless of your income. And we're going to make public colleges and universities tuition free. Second thing, to answer your question, we are going to cancel all student debt in America. Now, how can we do that? We're going to do all of that by putting a very modest tax on Wall Street speculation.
I want to tell my millions of followers, we're here to educate you guys. I hope your questions have been answered. And let's just get more educated. Please, let's put our focus on these terms elections because I don't think people understand how serious it is.
Cardi, can I just say one thing before we get off? A lot of people moan and groan, right? They don't like Donald Trump. They don't like the low wages. They don't like spending 50% of their income in housing. They don't like student debt. They don't like the fact they can't go to college. But all of that moaning and groaning and complaining doesn't mean anything unless we change the system, okay? Young people have got to get involved in the political process. Register to vote. It is not hard. It takes you 5 minutes. Register to vote. Trump does not want people of color to be participating in the political process. Participate in the political process. And then think about who the candidate is that is speaking the issues that are important to you, and then vote. If we have young people voting in large numbers, you know what? I have zero doubt but that Donald Trump will be defeated.
But thank you so much, Bernie.
Thank you so much.
Let's do the burn.
All right, you know what? I like her. That was a good interview. The next piece I picked to talk to you guys about today is from The Verge, and the headline is "The Old Man and the Stream." The campaign wants everyone it can find on board and is working with Streamlabs on Twitch to do it. Bernie Sanders and the campaign have joined Twitch. And that's just what I'm talking about. He will go where he needs to go to get to the people. And that's what needs to happen. So it might seem unusual to find a 77-year-old embracing Twitch, but it probably helps that he's a presidential candidate. Bernie Sanders, senator from Vermont and Democratic presidential candidate, has a message for gamers. He's on Twitch with them, and his campaign staff agrees. So it just goes on to talk about how they've joined Twitch, which I guess is a gaming streaming site. But look, if it's popular and if people are on there, Bernie's going to be on there too. And just like going on Joe Rogan. And that is opening him up to new audiences. He's running a terrific campaign. The whole campaign is doing fantastic. So that's news I thought we should discuss. I'm definitely going to look into Twitch now. I'm finding out quickly how old I am. I don't know who Cardi B is. I have no idea what Twitch is. Well, I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is. I've never been on Twitch, but today that's going to end. And I'm going to listen to a Cardi B song. The last thing I wanted to cover is the story is from Common Dreams, but it is about how the Bernie Sanders campaign has launched a new newsletter called Bern Notice. And the quote here says, "We've said from the start that we will have to take on virtually the entire media establishment in this campaign. And so far that has proven to be true. Okay, fine, we're ready." So, says the campaign newsletter will build on Sanders' existing alternative media apparatus, which includes the Hear the Bern podcast, and I can't talk today. Have you noticed that? And the Sanders channel on the gaming website Twitch. The Vermont senator also has the largest Twitter and Facebook followings of any 2020 Democratic presidential candidate. And there's the tweet. "We've said from the start that we will take on virtually the entire establishment in this campaign, and so far that has proven to be true. Okay, fine, we are ready." Did you see this clip? I'm going to play it real quick.
Your polling numbers here in Iowa have gone down a little bit.
No, you're looking at one poll which the media seems to like to talk about. Actually, if you look at the reports of polling since the last debate, guess which candidate has gone up the most? Thank you very much.
My dog.
What our job is, though, and where I need your help, is we got to win here in Iowa. We got to win the Democratic nomination. But we have got to stand together, black and white and Latino, Native American, Asian American, gay and straight, immigrant, native born. We have got to stand together around an agenda that works for all of us, not just the 1%. I'm delighted to be back here at the Iowa State Fair.
There, that was all from the Iowa State Fair. You see him talking to no one, right? The media is a bunch of liars, but the campaign now has their own newsletter, so subscribe to Bern Notice. If you follow me on Twitter, I shared the link, but look it up. Just give it a Google or check out my Twitter and get that link and sign up for the newsletter. So that was the news that I picked out to go over with you guys today. For Bernie events, the campaign just wrapped up in Iowa. They have been focusing really heavily lately on the early primary states, and Iowa's the first one. So they've been hitting Iowa real hard, and they'll be back in Iowa on the 19th for a softball game. The Bernie staff, is playing softball against the press at the iconic Field of Dreams baseball park in Iowa. So that's going to be happening on the 19th. And like I said in the news, the Bernie campaign just launched a new newsletter, Bern Notice. So get that and get the Bern app. If you haven't gotten the Bern app yet, get that. You get it anywhere you get your phone apps, and record a My Bernie story. That is where you make a short video explaining why you support Bernie Sanders and share that out on your Facebook or Twitter or wherever and get that out there. And do one of those. That'd be a really cool thing to do for the campaign. But that's what the campaign is up to. And we've reached the end of another episode of the Daily Bern. Thank you guys so much. This show here is growing, and I really appreciate that. It excites me to see that it's growing, and it's good that it is, because people need to hear a positive message. And we have one of the best comment sections, and I hope it builds up and grows and people really start sharing a lot of their stories down here in the comments. But our comment section is inspirational, and another thing I'm proud of is when people show up that have different views. The regulars of this show handle it with such grace. They don't act like idiots. Their head doesn't split into two when someone disagrees with them. We have to be able to talk with these people. You have to be able to find common ground. A lot of times we ignore your Trump supporters or your Republicans, but you have more in common with these people than you think. Starting with the fact that we all have the same enemies. We need to start looking at the big picture. That's more important than the little disagreements. And I'm talking about things like gun control, abortion. These are things that are used to divide people, to split us up into little groups and to get us fighting. I don't really think that they'll ever come take anyone's guns, and I don't think they'll ever take away a woman's right to an abortion. But they will threaten you with both things. in order to rile you up and get your defenses up and get you fighting with each other. And I think that's the only reason why they use those things. Just like when politicians like Ted Cruz claim to be Christian. Ted Cruz isn't Christian. Ted Cruz fights against everything that Jesus believed in. Ted Cruz is the opposite of what a Christian is, but he plays to Christians and panders to them and gets their vote because they look no further than his words. If you look at his actions, you find out he's not a Christian at all. But they don't. People don't. They don't look any further than their words. So, you got a really strong ranking with the NRA. Someone that's afraid they're going to lose their guns will support you, even if they don't agree with you on everything else. So these are deal breaker issues that split us up. But I feel like we can bicker about those later. We need to big picture this thing. And I feel like we can find common ground with these people that we don't agree with 100%. If we could just start understanding things like we're up against the same people. Your enemy is not your neighbor. Your enemy is not immigrants. Your enemy is a handful of disgustingly rich people that have an unquenchable amount of greed and want everything for themselves. And will destroy the planet and take from everyone to get that. And will never stop unless we stop them. But we're doing the work right now. We're moving in the direction of making real change. And it's exciting. And I'm glad to be a part of it. And I thank you for letting me be a voice in this revolution. And thank you so much for watching the Daily Bern. We will see you again tomorrow for a brand new episode. Stay out there and keep fighting. You guys rock. See you tomorrow.